All right. My name is Drew Cutler. I'm a musician and songwriter, and I co-founded a space called Unit J right here in New York City. I think what's fascinating about this sort of notion that AI is better than people at anything, it kind of makes you answer the question of what a musician is, and what makes them good. You can open the internet to any number of pages and see folks that are amazing guitar players or violinists or concert pianists, but you still don't feel anything from their music, So being good at music has very little to do with technical proficiency. Look, AI is amazing at a lot of things, but I think what draws humans to music is the realness, the rawness, the emotional connection that we get. I'm often drawn to music that has a lot of imperfections. And I think David Byrne said something along the lines of, the better that a singer sings, the less likely we are to believe them. So yes, AI is very good at music, but I don't know if it's very good at connecting. I think a lot of people nowadays spend a great deal of their time looking at screens, whether it's their phone, whether it's their television, whether it's their work computer, whatever it is, and I think they crave the opposite of that. So when people go out at night or they spend their hard-earned dollars on the weekends, they want to see something real, something that's live and something that they can experience and be a part of. So I think it's more important now than ever that people go out and live and experience live music. So I'm very fortunate to be a live musician and a touring artist, and I think that's only going to become more vital, as we continue on. One thing that's really tricky about musicians today, it's a little overwhelming because you have to wear all these hats. You writing the songs, you're producing the songs, and that's one huge bucket of your time. But then you actually have to promote them. So you are your own marketing director, you are your own copywriter, you're your own video editor, and it can be super taxing and exhausting to do both. I think when people try to tell authentic stories, they're going in the right direction in terms of marketing themselves. Some folks are way better at it. Some folks are better at creating a big marketing spectacle, and maybe they spend less time and energy in the studio. Other folks, they just want to be in the studio, and once they're on the second half of the record, it's really less inspiring. I think one thing that's sort of like annoying here, without getting in a tangent, is that the way that the internet works today, it really rewards people for certain types of marketing. So if it's really sexy, people click on it. If it makes them mad or angry or upset, people click on it, And so I think a really unhealthy place for musicians to be in is trying to think about how to go viral, like how do I get clicks? I think it ultimately has to come from the core of what musicians do, which is pull something out of themselves, make songs and music, and start from that, and share that. I think music is integral for marketing, is a huge part of any experience. The scenario that I give is like imagining yourself going to a fancy steak dinner and they're playing Rain and Blood by Cannibal Corpse over the speakers. It would completely change the vibe of the whole dining experience. So when you walk into a store, a pop-up, when you walk into an airport, when you get into Uber, like the music is just as important as the wallpaper, the lighting, the products, any of it. It helps to tell the story and wrap you in this sort of holistic experience. When it comes to music, look, the Super Bowl just happened. There's a lot of amazing ads. There's plenty of people doing great work. But I think when it really comes down to what a great song is, it's not the drum beat or the tempo, it's the emotional core, and making sure that that matches what folks are trying to say or sell or do. When I was on my way here in the subway, I found out that this artist from the 90s called Jeff Buckley is blowing up on TikTok. I know Jeff Buckley, I've loved his records. I put this record on called Grace, and young people are rediscovering it and they really love it. And I am also asking that question, why? Like, why are they loving this music alongside things that are made today? One of the reasons that I think records from the 90s hold up really well is that it's one of the last decades where the limitations of studio technology forced people to go in the room and make bold choices and play their songs together well. We were still recording on tape, even if it was ADAT or a variety of different formats. And it's not even about the sound of those pieces of technology, it's about the fact that you kind of had to get it right together, you know? So it has a vibe and a spirit because it showcases a level of commitment in terms of what the folks in the room chose to do. And I just think those records are somewhat timeless. Music today is also incredible, but we have the ability to fix and move and modify and polish tracks to the point where they can lose a bit of grit and they can lose a bit of authenticity, you know, and they can lose a bit of that sort of humanity. And I think that's one of the reasons people are really drawn to the Beatles or to Jeff Buckley or to Zeppelin. There's just a lot of humanity in some of that stuff. A few years ago, we were asked to play at this huge event at the Brooklyn Academy of Music called Night of 1,000 Bowies. And so I put together this 10-piece band dressed in David Bowie attire. And everyone that came to the concert, there was 2,000 people, were all dressed as David Bowies. And so there's this moment on stage, you know, where I'm singing Under Pressure, and I'm looking out in the crowd of 2,000 people singing along, all dressed as David Bowie. And it was, just felt like I was in some kind of weird dream vortex place. There's a lot of small examples. We used to play at a club called Skinny Dennis, and there's really, you know, simple things that happen to every musician. Some guy spilled a full beer on my guitar, you know, someone fell over on the mic stand. One time this gal tried to stop us in the middle of a song because she knew the song that we should play. She was like, no, don't play this one. I have an idea of what you guys should play. We're like, get the fuck off the stage. How are you doing here? When I was in a band in my 20s, I actually had one of my best friends and guitar players quit the band while we were on stage. So we were playing a song and he was going through a very tough time. I think he was just exhausted with touring and playing and the slog of it all. And in between songs, he just got on the mic and he said, you know, if I have to play this fucking venue one more time, I'm gonna kill myself. And he took his guitar off and he just threw it off stage onto the floor. And it was like feeding back and it made a terrible sound, and he just walked off stage. And we're just standing there like, I guess we're gonna keep going, you know, and we sort of fudged our way through the rest of the set. But it was incredibly awkward, and the whole time I was sort of heartbroken because he was my best friend and we had just spent all this time making a record, and I didn't know what was gonna happen after that. It was entertaining to watch, but it was very chaotic. One of the things that I think is cool about being a musician today is that you have the ability to make a full track completely fleshed out from your home studio. And that means drums and bass and guitars and strings and choir and organ, you name it, you can do it without hiring or bringing in any other people. And sometimes those tracks could just live on, and that's all they ever needed. But one thing that musicians run the risk of when you're demoing songs, right? When you're just thinking about them, when you're playing with them, when you're stretching them, when you're pushing them, when you're making them, when you're trying to understand them, you can get into this thing that we call demo-itis, meaning you just get obsessed with the demo. The demo had some magic to it. And you end up trying to beat that when you bring a band together or some musicians in the studio. There's been songs that I made where I flesh it out quite a lot, and I bring the studio musicians in to augment the demo. And sometimes it just doesn't work. There's something missing. It's almost like I put too much paint on the canvas and there was not room for the other artists to add their colors. I don't have the answer to this, but one thing I try to do, especially if I really love a song and I think it has potential, I make the demo shitty. I try to make it shitty. I don't want it to be perfect. I want there to be room for it to grow. Maybe I don't sing it that well. Maybe I only do one verse instead of two. Maybe the drums aren't the right sounds. I just want the idea captured, and I can start over or breathe new life into it when I hit the studio. We did it.